All right, so real quick, I just want to jump in here and show you exactly how to use this new pricing tool that I've created here. It might look different when you see this in the future. We're going to be changing this up a little bit, but this will do a lot of really cool things that can. So for one, this can help you build out your price book. If you're trying to go flat rate pricing and you're asking everybody like, where are you guys getting all your price books? Well, like you just create your own, right? Or you can pay somebody thousands of dollars to create one for you. Well, this is going to make it a whole lot easier. This is a free tool that we've created at Upward Bound Media. Like I said, there will be some further iterations of this. So if you have any feedback, anything that you would like to see in here, feel free to drop a comment below or just send me a text, a DM, whatever. So just to jump right in, one of the first things that we're going to do before we get into doing any of this is we need to set up our business's rates essentially. So, do you know what your business needs to charge hourly to get to the profit margins and to be profitable as a business? If you don't know that, then we probably need to jump in and do a little bit more research. Just for the sake of this video, I'm going to come up with an hourly rate for my HVAC business. Uh, some of the things that we do also need to fill out is going to be this tax rate percentage. And this is going to vary state by state, city by city, county by county. And so what I recommend doing is, so we're in Cushing, Oklahoma currently. So I'm just going to put Cushing, Oklahoma sales tax rate. And then we're just going to see what the internet says. So the internet says 9.31. I'm going to trust it because we're going to just, that's pretty high number. So I'm assuming that's probably accurate. 9.31%. Okay. So these are going to be whole numbers and I'll do the mathematics and all that stuff behind it. So you don't need to figure out any of that stuff. Okay. Our hourly rate. So this is 2025 currently. Most of you guys should be in the two. It kind of depends entirely on your location, don't get me wrong, but most of you guys should be starting to get up there. If you don't have your price book and stuff yet, you might be relatively new to the business, so you might be a little bit lower. You might not have as many employees, you might not have as much overhead, but just right out the gate, just for sake of figuring this out and showing you how this operates, we're going to operate at $200 an hour. Okay. That actually might work for most of you guys. Some of you other guys might be much higher than that. There are a few areas, including, kind of my area, where that might actually be a little bit on the higher tier of things. And so just put this wherever your typical hourly rate is. Okay. Markup percentage. So this is going to be like you buy a part from the part house. How much would you mark it up to actually if you were just flat out to sell it to a customer with no labor involved, right? Obviously, most of you guys don't sell directly to the public parts because there's no warranty and all that stuff involved. But if you do sell directly to the public, this would essentially be I bought a part for 20 bucks and I'm going to sell it for no less than $30 or I'm going to sell it for no less than $40. So typically I recommend about a 45% markup rate. So for this, for showing you guys this, we're going to operate at $200 an hour hourly rate. That's the business hourly rate. That's not individual. I might be paying an individual $30 an hour to go run the calls, but as a business, I need to charge $200 an hour to stay profitable, to keep our profit margins where we want them to be. And so we'll set our hourly rate and then our markup, like I said, 45% tax rate. That's going to vary depending upon your location again. And so make sure that you keep up with your local tax rates because there's going to be cities, there's going to be counties, there's going to be state sales taxes in many, many scenarios. Um, Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to call up to the parts house and we're going to say, hey, how much is this induced draft motor? They're going to say it's $83.64 plus shipping. Okay, so do we put $83.64 here? No, because it's plus shipping. So this is going to be the to your door price. So if you have to pay $25 for shipping, if it costs you $112 or something for you to get that part in your hands ready to go to the customer. That's going to be what we're put in here. If you happen to be one of the businesses, which I recommend, where you do like the overnight shipping, you do the quick 1 day turnaround stuff where you typically are going to actually try to rush that in there so that your customer is not down for very long. You're going to want to make sure and put the extra expedited shipping cost also in here. So let's say to your door, the part comes out as $112.53. Okay, just random numbers. Okay, then say it's an induced draft motor, right? It cost me $112.53 just to get it in my hands. So this tells me if a customer was going to come over and just buy it directly off of me, given our markup, given our hourly rate, we should be charging $179 for somebody to just come in and purchase this off of me. And the reason that is because actually the price after markup is going to be 163 and some change. We've got $0 labor fee, but we have to pay the sales tax on it still. And that total is going to come out to $178.36. Okay. I don't like dealing with pennies. Some of you guys might run this number at $178.36. Personally, I would round it up to either 179, maybe run it to 180. I don't like to go actual full blown even numbers, even though I do like to go full blown even numbers, but it looks more to the customer like you've rounded it up. So if you go $179, that seems okay. That's pretty specific. So that must they're more willing to come off of the money because of that. Okay, so now we know we're doing an induced draft motor. How long does an induced draft motor take? Well, you might know right off the top of your head that that's probably going to take me an hour. However, some of these tasks you might not know. So what we've done is we've actually included these task times that are in here are actually from warranty repair. So extended warranties, these are the time periods that they actually allot for you to accomplish specific tasks. Not to say that you have to follow these, but these are a good guide. Let me move myself out of the way. These are a good guide as to how much time something might take if you don't know just right off the top of your head. Now, there are instances where something might take, twice as long, something might take half as long. And so I would never reduce these times, but there are instances where I might increase these times. So if you're using this pricing guide for a quote specific kind of thing, and you look over there and you're like, well, we're doing a heat exchanger, but it's at the back of the attic. It's going to take two guys bare minimum because they've got to crawl up there. They've got to like slide it across the attic all the way to the back of the attic, and then they're going to be working up there. So bare minimum, you're probably going to add an hour to it just because of the back and forth and all that stuff and all the crawling that's done. So you would actually adjust the time frames accordingly. But just going right off of here. So what we're doing is we're actually going to be we're talking about doing the induced draft motor. That's going to be they're considering it a combustion motor. Same damn thing. They call it 0.75. I'm still going to call it 1 hour for my guys. Okay. I don't know what they're going to get into. You might end up with some freaking flue pipe or something that's a battle to fight with. So we would just put 1 hour. Okay. Now it's going to automatically adjust for the $200 per hour. So we should be charging $397 for this. Okay. Just very simply, very easily. If for some reason something's going to, maybe you need to actually add some RTV or something on there. Maybe you need to replace some gaskets or something, and maybe that's like 32 more dollars. That the hours are still going to stay the same. Just you might actually have to replace more components while you're there. So always consider all of the components that we're going to be replacing. So, for instance, if you're going to be going and doing a leak repair, so let's say a leak repair is going to, or like any sort of refrigerant kind of circuit diagnostic stuff. Any sort of refrigerant repairs are going to take you several hours, pump down, evacuate, all that good stuff, then recharge, et cetera, et cetera. But what you might not be considering is you're like, okay, well, I'm going to change the expansion valve, for instance. So we've got it set up for 4 hours. I realize like it'll actually tell you maybe 2, 3 hours on the warranty thing. I'm going to always allocate 4 hours personally because I'd rather my guys take their time. And so the expansion valve, yeah, it's only $72. But we also need to change the filter dryer, right? So filter dryers are brazen. Maybe the expansion valves are mechanically fitted. Maybe you don't have to change the filter dryer, but I always like to quote it in there regardless. And I realize that the filter dryer is not much money, so we're just going to say 23 bucks or so. Problem is when you change a filter dryer, now we need to get our welding stuff off. So we should really know how much a brazing allotment would be. So how much does it cost for us to braze? We're using 15%. So that like it's like 100 and something dollars for a tube of 15% plus the oxyacetylene, all that stuff. And so, we'll just add an extra 15 bucks because of a brazing allotment. And so now instead of just saying $72 for a TXV, now we have a filter dryer, now we have brazing allotment, nitrogen, all that kind of stuff does add up. And so now we actually come out to that TXV is going to cost us $1,049 to replace. Kind of pricey for $100 worth of parts. I get it. But, $200 an hour and it's not an easy job to do. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's an easy job to do. But as far as time and business constraints are involved, it's not a just quick, change a capacitor kind of thing. Anyways, so hopefully hopefully this has shown you a little bit exactly how to use the program, how to use it's not even a program, it's just a spreadsheet that I've built out. I don't recommend changing any of these values up here because I already have them pointing. So you're not going to change any of these right here. These right here will change themselves. And the only things that you're going to be changing is right here. And these right here, pretty much you just set them and forget them. So maybe you've got some issues and you need to increase your markup for whatever reason. So if we have $100 part over here that takes 1 hour, we started out at 45% markup. So you get $378. Well, maybe we'll see what happens if we went to a 60% markup. Really didn't increase it that much because it's just a parts markup. It's not a labor markup because we're already charging our hourly rate for labor. The only thing that we really need to do with the markup is get our money back and then make a little bit of money on each part that we also sell. Okay. This is how you get the overall profit margins that you need to get. And then we'll just adjust. So I would honestly just keep this at 45% markup. And then I would adjust my hourly rate in order to fall in line with the profit margins that we're needing to get in order to stay profitable, in order to keep growing. Some of you guys are operating on like thin profit margins. You need to increase your hourly rate because you can't grow if you don't have profit. What are you spending towards marketing this year if you don't have any profit coming into the business? So increase your profits to where you can get up in there the double digits bare minimum. And very simply come up with a flat rate price book for your business just by typing in the price and how long it takes to complete that job. And then boom, you can kind of come up with a flat rate price. Say for instance, we were actually going to come up with like, what should our dual capacitor price be? Well, you really just go over there and you look in the book and you say, well, the I don't know, 60-5 is our most expensive capacitor and it's actually only like $28, right? Capacitors aren't that bad. And then it takes us 0.5. I never go below 0.5 as well, by the way. Everything takes bare minimum half an hour. Okay. So at a $28 price point, to your door price point and half an hour, we should be charging $154. Well, guess what? The 60-5 happened to be what we labeled as our most expensive. So that means that at a 45.5 or a 40-5, like we could still charge $154 and just make a little bit more margin in there to anyway, very simple, very easy. Just you have to know the price to your door. Always factor in the to your door price. Don't screw yourself by overnighting a stinking compressor or something and then shortchanging yourself 200 and something dollars because you paid 200 and something dollars to overnight a compressor when all you did was the parts counter told me it's going to be $1,238. So you put 1,238 and then like didn't factor in that, you got to pay this freight cost. So always the to your door cost is what we're going to put in that part price. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Please feel free to tell me anything I can do to modify this, make it easier. If you don't understand how some of this stuff works, let me know. This is the initial, like I just built this. I used to have one of these built out for the business I worked at. This is how I created our price books. Was manual, just getting into it, but having this spreadsheet right here will dramatically reduce the head scratching and will dramatically reduce the amount of legwork that there is involved in your price book. And then, like I said, we also have the task times over here, which is another good indicator of I've got task times over here. I don't have a price for a defrost control with 2 sensors. Well, maybe we should come up with the price in our book for how much a defrost control. So these are also going to be good indicators as for any things that you might need to add to your price book. But anyway, hit me up. Hope this is good for you, and we'll talk to you next time.